of 2022 at the Supervisor Retreat in Whitesburg, Georgia. For reference sake, the specific dates of the Supervisor Retreat training event was Monday, November the 14th, Tuesday, November the 15th, and Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. All right. Sergeant Knowles, if you would start by telling me on the first day, that Monday, when you went to the Banning Mills where the retreat was, who you went with, how you got there, and then we'll continue from there about the time.
Lieutenant Pritchett drove. It was Robbie, me, and Lieutenant Peterson.
Okay. And you guys went in what vehicle?
Pritchett's truck.
Personal vehicle?
Personal vehicle.
Okay. About what time did you guys leave here in LaGrange? All right. And how was the meal paid for?
Individually.
Okay. So there was not a payment from one individual or a payment from the police department or linked to the city of LaGrange?
No, that was all checks.
Individual?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was there alcohol consumed there?
Yes.
During the meal?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, or did you consume alcohol there at the meal? Do you remember how much you consumed or what you consumed while you were there?
So Clower and I both were drinking cactus water or something to that effect.
Is that a mixed drink?
It's a mixed drink, like a vodka drink. I remember him drinking it last year's at the last year's supervisor retreat, and I remember tasting it, and it was good. So I told him I wanted that.
Okay.
So that's all I drank there.
Okay. And how many drinks would you say you had while you were there during that meal?
4 or 5.
4 or 5 drinks. Okay.
So during dinner or just after dinner, File started a group thread, and so people were, and it was the day that we covered like personality traits.
Okay.
And kind of how to manage based off of your personality.
So while you were at dinner,
so it was
you received a text
right
message.
at like 7:59.
Okay.
We all started getting text messages, and so I remember at dinner, and I'm drunk, so I like hone in on this because a comment was made about me. So it kind of stewed in the back of my mind, so that when I saw File and everybody started breaking off in their individual groups, and there was a lot of conversation and drunk people, so we were all loud. I couldn't hear all the conversations or anything, but based on this text message thread, when he sat down, he was like cool as a cucumber, as he always is, but I looked at him and like I stood up and like I do this number, like I have a bone to pick with you. I remember that very
What
vividly.
was the comment that you're referring to that made you stew?
So he sent one saying, okay, what did we all learn about ourselves that we already didn't know, or did we learn anything about ourselves we didn't already know? So people started, no, yes, whatever. So
who all was in that text thread group?
Kirby, Sloniker, File, Pritchett, Clower, Lore, Wheeler, Monica, Lee, Jeremy Jones, Butler, and Hall. And I don't even remember Butler, like almost in any of this. So I don't even think he even came out there. So people started, chiming in. Kirby made a comment, or Lee made a comment. Kirby said he'd learned a lot. He'll fill you in over some box wine because that's
Chairs around him.
typically what. So I pop up and get his attention by doing this.
That's what you do,
like
right?
I was like, I got a bone to pick with you.
Right.
And I think he was like, something like that, like, what are you talking about kind of thing. And so, and me being drunk, and having no other seat around there, instead of just bringing mine, I did like a little kind of one of these. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? I remember being like, what does this even mean? Confounded by your confusion of me or whatever. I remember on Justice Note to call Pritchett. At the time that this was going on, I remembered full well what was being said. I remember saying something like, we started talking about this Wendy, Clayton, Josh thing.
Between you and File, or were there other people involved in this conversation?
So he and I, because I'm literally in his face.
You're sitting on
We're
his lap.
talking. Yes,
In
we're
a chair.
talking about this.
Okay.
Yes. And you know how when you're drunk, it's like you're in tunnel vision. Like you don't even
You're not paying
pick up.
anybody any attention. Okay.
So I remember the topic of the conversation being all this seriousness, and I remember he said something about how I would never work. He swore I would never work for him. And I remember saying something like, "But have I disappointed you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have I been anything other than, it's something along the lines of, but a good employee or doing my job, or it was something like that." And he was like, "No, you're right. You haven't. You haven't disappointed me," and all this other stuff. So I don't remember other specific statements. I remember saying that though, and I was being dead serious. Even in my drunken stupor, like I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Sidebar, through all this stuff, me and Clayton had another falling out, and like we were
Like prior to this?
like the day before.
The day, okay.
Where, feelings were hurt. Like we were sure this is over. Hell, I was drunk, so everything was loud. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
All right. So, you guys are out there for a couple of hours, and you make it back to your room.
Yes.
You wake up the next morning.
Yes.
Is there anything odd that next morning when you wake up?
Odd? No.
Okay. I'll tell you where I'm going. I have, through the interviews, I've heard that there were rumors that you woke up and you were disrobed, or you didn't have any clothes on, or you were partially disrobed, and you didn't remember how that took place, don't remember taking your own clothes off. So that's where I'm going at.
Okay. I remember taking my shirt off as they were exiting the room, but I did make a comment, like, I'm just trying to figure out who took my pants off, kind of thing. Like, because I didn't know if I did it, if they were because I remember when I came to, I was crawling in the bed. Chris had took out my phone and watch charger, which is one built-in charging station, plugged it up. He done had my phone on the charger. He had my Apple Watch on the charger. One of them was messing with the TV remote, like getting a TV on.
So you say one of them. There were two people in your room other than you.
Flower and Pritchett helped me get in there.
Okay.
So like they were like setting it all up so that I was like my stuff was charged. I had the TV on.
Who did you make that comment to when you came to that you're not sure how you got there with your pants off?
So the table we basically assigned ourselves to for the whole trip was Lore, Pritchett, Robbie Hall, Matt Fowler, and Karen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was over maybe that breakfast table when people were like laughing and like talking about the night's events, because Matt did not make it out there, Karen did not make it out there. Lore, I don't believe Lore came to the balcony or the deck. I don't think he did. So we were more or less like catching them up on just how rowdy it got, and I think I made some like chuckle, like I'm just trying to figure out how my pants came off or something to that effect. And I want to say that was the same conversation where maybe Robbie, because we talked about me crying. I was highly embarrassed. I don't like crying, and I sure as hell don't like telling people around here my story and my feelings. And so, just talking about just how embarrassed I was that it got to that point. I did not want it to get to that point specifically. And they're like, "Girl, you're all right. You're fine. You didn't do anything the rest of us hadn't done." And so
that was a conversation at the breakfast table the next morning.
Yeah, and so I want to say that was when Robbie said something about how file, because we were, like I said, we were going into the night's events. I remember when I first walked in, I was like, "Anybody got a lap I can sit in?" Like, I made a joke about it, and so of course the few of us who were in the know kind of laughed about it. So it was just lighthearted. Nothing serious, just not anything that several of us hadn't already done, because several of us have powwowed on our own occasions and gotten drunk. So
do you believe anything inappropriate happened to you when you went back to your room
No,
with regards to
not
the
at all.
clothes? You
No.
did not believe that?
No.
Okay.
So I made that comment. I want to say that's when Chris shared that he and Clower were helping me.
Did anybody during that conversation say, yes, I took your clothes off, or I helped you get into bed? Do you remember what that conversation was there?
Just Chris being like, yeah, we were helping you get in bed, and you wanted to be comfortable, and you know. So I think he said he took them off.
Your pants off?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know I took my shirt off, but that was when they were leaving. Because the rooms there are old and dank smelling and hot, and so it was just, I think my AC didn't work, so I was burning up. I do remember that. So as they were walking out the door, I took off my shirt and threw it. That's why I looked at the clock, and I think it said 11:07, and I was like, oh, I could still get some sleep, you know. I didn't want it to be like 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was like the gist of it. I know Clower has seen my butt before because we go to his lake all the time, and we're always drinking, and you know, you jump in, swimsuit stuff. So I mean, I don't have. He and I have no attraction. Like, we're just brother, sister, like friends. Been for all these years. So like, there's again no sexual. I don't feel that way toward Chris.
Okay.
I don't think he feels that way toward me. I trust these guys. My drunkenness, I have been, like, they have taken care of me in the past. I've slept at Clower's house, you know, multiple times. So, I mean, these are people I have history with, so I'm most comfortable with.
Trust.
And I trust them.
Okay. So, that morning, you get up, you go to breakfast. About what time was that? What, do you remember what time you guys were supposed to start?
Class started at 9, maybe, so I think I want to say Robbie said, oh yeah, there's pictures, and then he did like how Clower picked up his phone in the record and started like clicking the buttons, but walking past us like he was on the phone.
Oh.
And we even made a joke going into this, you know, how girls, like females, don't be pulling your phones out, like, you know, bashing at the girls because the girls are drama. Hell no. It's always the men you gotta watch out for.
So did you hear that Clower took a photograph? Is that what you heard?
I heard there was a string of photographs because he was passing us and steadily clicking the buttons.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Anybody else that you know of? Or
Mark had mentioned to me he had some, and that he deleted them because he didn't want to be involved in any drama. I don't know if that meant he took his own or if that meant Clower sent them to him. I don't know. So, like, as it relates to photos, videos, I have no idea who has them.
So you didn't personally see any photographs or videos or anything?
I have not seen any.
And the only time you heard that there were photographs were that Sergeant Clower took photographs, and then you talked personally with Mark, who said he took one, but he deleted it.
Yes. So, and that got brought up for Thanksgiving because I had heard that this IA was being launched. And
who did you hear that from?
So, Clayton told me, because that pissed him off, and thinking there's something going on between me and the way it was projected to him or explained to him is that something's going on between me and File, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So he approached me about it because Mark told him about it, and he won't tell me his other source, and I think it was Clower had maybe mentioned it, because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Mark had been pulled into Rob's office, and whoever that other person was, I'm probably wrong, I could be wrong, but I thought it was Clower was pulled into the chief's office, or Rob's office, because the chief caught wind that there was videos and or pictures floating around.
So that was as far back as...
That was, we had Thanksgiving dinner as a shift. Mark came and grabbed a plate, so I knew by then. So I don't know what day, but I do know by then it was circulating about Rob pulling people in, and the chief being pissed off that there's videos and pictures and, you know, what the hell happened and stuff like that. So I know people started like kind of talking to each other, like, what did you see? Well, what did you see? People coming to me asking me what I knew, and I'm like, I don't remember all this. You know, I remember up until a point of sitting in his lap and talking about work. That's what I remember. I don't remember any, you know, bits and pieces until I got to my room. Like, I don't remember. And so I had heard, you know, about the innuendos that, you know, of him touching me and stuff like that. I have no recollection of this. and he's not treated me poorly or different since then.
Have you talked about the event with File at all?
No,
Okay.
no. Nobody has talked to me, which pissed me off because I'm the subject of a potential IA, and nobody talks to me about it.
Sure.
And so, I'm pissed off, I guess, the most because I know, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I know in everything that goes on around here, Mark Cavender runs his mouth to anybody and everybody back here. I've seen it. I've experienced it. He talks with his door open. He talks so loud you can hear it when his door is closed. I have enemies up here stemming from that windy thing. And so, you know, in my could be paranoid mind, but know that it's not over for them. And if they can find a way to take me down, they will. I don't have a doubt in my mind that Amy Sweat and her, you know, and Wendy, who's not even been here, but by way of Amy, Angie, and all them, I have no doubt in my mind that this is it's a door that they've put their foot through to bring me down yet again.
I have that it is currently 15:19 or 3:19 p.m. My name is Dale Strickland. I'm here at the LaGrange Police Department. I'm conducting an interview with Lieutenant Jeremy Butler regarding an internal review that I was directed to conduct regarding an allegation of misconduct that was alleged to have occurred at the 2022 supervisor retreat in Whitesburg, Georgia, at Banning Mills. The dates of this retreat, to remind you, Lieutenant Butler, were Monday, November the 14th, Tuesday, November the 15th, and Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. All right, I'll begin. The first question is that did you participate or did you go to the supervisor retreat for 2022?
I did.
Okay. All right, can you tell me how you got there this year, 2022?
I drove my personal car this year.
Okay.
I just got I'd gotten a new car, and I wanted to, for as long as I'd driven it, so I drove it.
All right. Did anybody ride with you too, or did you go by yourself?
I went by myself.
Okay.
and back by myself.
Okay.
You know, there were some people that had their coolers and things like that.
So there was some alcohol there
Yes.
and being consumed by individuals. Do you remember who there was consuming alcohol?
I know Captain File had like some wine and stuff he makes. He had some of that, I remember, in a cooler, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think Sergeant Wheeler had one in, I don't know what the brand is, like a pumpkin-looking spice drink in a container. And there was, somebody had beers, but I don't remember who.
Okay.
Like who it was that brought them. Or something.
All right. What would you consider? You said there were folks that were drinking there. What would you consider the intoxication level of individuals there?
At dinner, none.
Okay.
At dinner.
Okay. So you didn't observe anybody that appeared to be intoxicated?
No, nobody's out of line during dinner and hung out. And
who all was down at the back porch on the barbecue night that you can say? Do you need to look at that list?
I can kind of go remember just
Okay.
who I remember. I know Wheeler, Sergeant Wheeler, Clower, Kirby, Mark, Cavender, Captain, like I said, Captain Paul, Becky, Lee Wynn, and Pritchett. Monica was there for, seemed like, she was there for just a little bit, it wasn't long, because she left probably a few minutes before.
Okay.
And then, I don't remember if Robbie was there. Yeah, Robbie was there, because him and Jeremy Jones
Okay.
got to talking about some reports or something.
Okay.
I don't really remember anybody else off the top of my head.
Okay.
I didn't see Rob or.
Okay, so you're talking about intoxicating levels. Kind of describe to me what you would say, how I mean.
People just getting loud, you
Okay.
know, and talking out a little more than they typically do. And,
Okay.
you know, you can just tell somebody gets intoxicated, they're got this kind of glazed over look, and then they just start talking a little extra,
Okay.
I guess you'd say.
All right. Where you guys were at down there in that's kind of the back deck area?
Yeah, it's like there's a little patio, like those heat lamp looking things, and a couple chairs, and then there's a table on the back. It's like a back porch.
Was there anybody out at that area that were not associated with the police department?
No.
Patrons maybe of the Banny Mills that were not associated with the police department?
No, wasn't.
Okay.
Nobody else saw.
All right. About how long were you down there?
Probably 40 minutes, 45 minutes at the
Okay.
most.
Were there people there when you first got there?
Yeah, when I got there, there were already people down there.
Okay.
I was probably one of the last folks to come down.
Okay. Did you see alcohol there at that area?
Yeah, there was like I said, that pumpkin thing that Wheeler had. I don't know what, I can't remember, like a Captain Morgan's pumpkin something. I know Jeremy had some kind of drinks, and like I said, I know Captain had his cooler with the wines and stuff in it. Josh had something, but I don't remember what it was. I didn't really pay attention to what he was drinking.
Okay.
I don't remember.
All right. All right. So, kind of describe the behaviors. Was there anything that you found to be out of the ordinary that occurred down there when you were down there?
No. Well, initially I would say no. Again, there was all supervisors talking amongst each other, picking at each other. Just saying things. They weren't being mean to each other or derogatory or anything else. They just were. You know how folks pick at each other when they get to talking smack, I guess you want to call it. There was a lot of laughing and giggling going on, and then I saw some stuff that I kind of questioned.
Okay. And would you describe for me what you saw there that you questioned?
Yeah, I saw Becky, Sergeant Nolles, go, and she was sitting in Captain Paul's lap, kind of like if I'm sitting, he's me sitting in a chair, and she had kind of like come here and sat across his legs here, so her back is here.
Okay.
And sitting in his lap.
Did you see when she came and sat down, or was she?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember how it played out, but yeah, I just remember her going and sitting in his lap at some point.
And describe for me what was going on. Were they like talking, or was she just sitting there?
I don't.
Were there other folks around? How did that?
Yeah, I don't
play
remember really what him and her were talking about. I couldn't tell you because there were so many other people talking, laughing, and I don't know what him and her talked about. I just know that I was standing up at the time. They were sitting down. There were some other people sitting near the table, and there was some standing on the other side of the table from where I was at. I was basically standing when I saw that. There's that little alleyway between the buildings that takes you to the porch. I was standing right there, me and Lee Wynn.
Okay.
And I think Chris Pritchett. Lee was to my right, Pritchett was to my left, and I was in the middle.
Okay. Was there any conversation there between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking normally, just normal conversation, and then I think we all kind of mumbled each other, what we were seeing.
Right.
It stood out. It stood out to each other. I don't remember what we said, but I just.
How long was she there? I guess.
Probably 30 of the 45 minutes that I was there.
Did you see her get up?
No.
Okay.
I left.
You left.
I left after I saw some stuff.
All right. What else did you see that?
Just the, and again, I didn't really have so much of the problem with her sitting in his lap and they're talking, whatever, having grown-up conversation or whatever they were talking about, I don't know. But I saw his hand. She had on like a hoodie, I think it was like a gray hoodie, and I saw his hand go up in her
upper back,
and he wasn't like groping on her or anything. He was like rubbing her back.
Okay.
While they were talking, and I was just like, what I saw, and I was like, yeah, it's time for me to go.
Okay. Do you believe, based on your observations there, this was as a result of he and her being intoxicated, or do you think there was something other than that there, or could you tell based on?
I mean, like I said, I've never seen Cap Fowler or Becky interact with each other, other than like in a staff meeting.
Right.
So I've never observed them two really even together or other than in that setting. I don't.
So it made you uncomfortable, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking if I were in that position,
Okay.
how it would look.
So, did you leave as a result of that, or did you plan to leave?
No,
or you just...
I did. I left because of it. And again, it wasn't that I had this overwhelming uncomfortableness. I just didn't. It didn't look right, and I didn't want to be part of it.
Okay.
That's the easiest way I can tell you.
All right.
I just didn't want to be part of it.
Did you observe any other behavior that you thought was odd from anyone else there?
No. Like I said, the majority of what I saw was just people picking and laughing about stuff, and it's always in those settings they talking about work, and that's the first thing I don't want to be part of because I don't want to be at work when I ain't at work.
Right.
So that's a lot of the reason, but again, that's why I left.
Okay. And where did you go when you left?
Back to my room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever come back out?
No.
Okay.
No. I went back to my room, and somebody else left too when I did, but I can't remember who it was. It may have been Lee Wynn.
Okay.
Or Chris. One of them two left.
Okay. Again, going back to that, I guess, were you consuming alcohol when you were out
I
there?
I had like 2 things of taste of that pumpkin stuff. I'd never seen it. Craig was telling me how good it was. I don't typically drink, so I'm like, I'm just going to try it. It tasted good, but I didn't get intoxicated.
Okay.
Plus, I just ate too. So.
Was there anybody else around there that you recognize as maybe talking loudly or confrontational conversations, or any conversations that you thought were odd, out of place, or?
I wouldn't say confrontation. I know Captain File and Josh Clower were talking about something, and Josh, basically said, and I don't remember the topic, but it was basically Josh just kind of said, "Well, trust them." He was implying if we got to let our employees do their jobs, and you got to trust them and quit kind of going behind them. I think is what Josh was implying, but he was, he said it kind of loudly, but I didn't take it as he was like
being disrespectful or argumentative.
And Captain, you could tell he kind of cackled at it, but I didn't. Outside of that, I didn't really.
Anything else that you thought was?
No.
Okay. All right. So you leave, go back. You don't come back to the porch. Tell me what happened the next day.
We got up the next morning and went to class, and that's about it. I don't remember who we had the last day.
Okay.
But we did our goals and objectives.
Okay. Did you see anybody take any photographs while you guys were out there? Did you observe anybody taking
outside?
Photographs? Yes.
No.
On that back deck?
No.
Or anywhere for that matter?
No.
Okay. Any video taken with cell phones, and that's what I was implying with cell phones with the photographs or video?
Right. No.
Have you heard anybody, or did anybody show you any photographs or video of that event that took place on the back porch? Okay.
No.
Have you heard any rumors or talked to anybody directly about what took place on that back porch at any time?
Yes. And I don't remember when it was. It's been a couple of weeks ago. Cavender just told me that there was somebody filed a complaint or something along that line, but it was just that we were downstairs about to go. I was leaving and he was going to the gym.
Okay. And that's the only thing?
Yeah. But, and I think it was just me and him. I don't remember who it was.
All right. Is there anything else that you think I need to have as a part of this investigation that I'm conducting that we've not talked about?
Well, I can't say this. I didn't think about this. I remember Monica standing right there, like where I was at too. And I kind of got it. I sense things a lot of time. I kind of get these intuitions that something ain't right, I guess you'd say. And I could sense that she did not feel comfortable either. And I don't know, body language and her face, kind of like, this ain't good. And it's, so I read into that too, that you're right, and without her having to say it.
Right.
And that's why I just like, yeah, I go.
All right. Did she leave with you, or did you?
No, I think she left a few minutes before me, and she may have been the one I'm thinking about that left.
Okay. But you think she left before you did? Then?
Yeah, but it wasn't but a few minutes. I just remembered her not being there anymore, standing beside me. But I got that vibe that she did not like what, without saying it.
Mm-hmm.
I just could sense that she's like,
Was and I may have already asked this. Did you see anybody out there around that were not law enforcement personnel, LPD personnel?
No.
Okay.
And I know somebody mentioned, because I think there may have been some people staying, in that same vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember somebody saying, I hope he ain't keeping somebody up or something like that. But I never
You
saw
anybody?
Yeah, right. Somebody that we may have been keeping up.
Okay. All right.
Other than a cat, and that was it.
Okay. Did you or do you know of anybody that turned any receipts in for reimbursement for food or drink while they were up there?
No, I know I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
And again, you don't know if the alcohol that was there, based on your knowledge, was supplied by each individual that was there that bought their own. That was not supplied by any city or PDO.
Yeah, no. You could tell they had purchased it because and they had them in their own. Whether it be the cooler like Capfile had with his wines and stuff like that.
Okay.
And outside of that that's little pumpkins, all I remember.
Okay.
And that's the only drinks I really remember.
All right. Anything else?
No, not that I know of.
All right.
No, sir.
This concludes this interview. Today is still January the 6th, 2023. I have that it's now 3:41 or 15:41 hours.
Sure.
My name is Dale Strickland, and I'm here at the LaGrange Police Department. I'll be conducting an interview with Sergeant Lee Wynn regarding a complaint of improper behavior that was received that I was directed to conduct an internal review of. The complaint specifically talks about the 2022 supervisor retreat that was held at Banny Mills in Whitesburg, Georgia. The dates on that for reference are Monday, November the 14th, 2022, Tuesday, November the 15th, 2022, and November the 16th, 2022. That's a Wednesday. All right. Our first question for you, Sergeant Wynn, is did you participate in the 2022 supervisor retreat in Banny Mills?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you would tell me on that Monday how you traveled to Banny Mills and if anybody traveled with you.
Because I had GPS. But we stopped at a liquor store when we got closer to Banny Mills. Don't remember the name of the street, road. I'm not real good with that area. But we stopped there. Kirby had to use the restroom. Slonica went inside. I FaceTimed my kids in the parking lot. Kavner was in the truck. I didn't purchase anything there. I didn't think I went in the store. And I think Slonica might have got some because he went inside, but I can't remember.
You remember what it was?
Okay. I wouldn't buy anything, so I didn't really pay attention to what he got. I think he got something because he went inside, but I know Kavner stayed in the truck and I was outside with my kids. So.
All right. And from there?
Went back to Banny Mills.
Okay.
Got back there and I went inside my room and called my wife, talked to her for a little bit, and I know that they usually go out back to the back porch or something. My first year at the supervisor retreat, I chose not to. Not for any reason, just other than I just chose not to. That was my first year, and I really wasn't sure. Kind of trying to fill out the whole process. But I told my wife, I was like, I feel like I need to go out there and just at least hang out with the people, and they, want to be stuck up or something like that. And she's like, all right, you can go out there. So I did. And I haven't drank alcohol, and I can't tell you when. And Wheeler was like, I got this pumpkin spice. I guess it's like a rum or something. He's like, yo, try it. All right. So I tried it. And I didn't drink probably more than like that much of it, just because not one that drinks anymore. Not that I ever was one that drank, but yeah, I hadn't had anything to drink in a long time, so I knew just a little bit. But we were all just out there hanging out. It was me. You may tell you who?
Sure.
Me.
You need that as a reference again?
Yeah.
To work for?
A can of something. I didn't really remember what they were drinking.
Did you see multiple sources of alcohol? Was it
So
like
there-
your
there-
own, kind of like a bring your own
Yeah.
bag, bottle, whatever?
Yeah, there was a cooler on the ground. I think it was Captain Files. 'Cause I remember him saying something about him having some wine that he made. But I'm not really a wine fan, so. But then there was another cooler on the table. It seemed like there might have been a couple of bottles, but I don't remember what they were, other than the one that Wheeler had, because it looked like a pumpkin.
Okay. Did you note anybody during that time being intoxicated?
On just, how much fun everybody was carrying on. I mean, I'm sure people were, but I didn't.
Well, through your experience as an officer, I would say intoxicated to the point where they would not have been safe driving.
I wouldn't think anybody would have been safe to drive. Just knowing.
Based on your observation.
Right, just knowing the level, just knowing, levels of alcohol that you can consume and be DUI. I mean,
Right.
I would not have let anybody drive from around there,
All right.
personally, just for safety reasons and the law.
Did you note any odd behavior or behavior that you found to be odd while you were back there?
So I know that at one time, Captain File was sitting in a chair, and Sergeant Knowles, I know that she was sitting, like, the chair had arms, and from what I remember, just because I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to it, it looked like she was sitting, like, on the arm of the chair, like half on the arm and half, I don't say in his lap, but like she wasn't sitting like in his lap, but she was, maybe on one leg, like part on the arm, part on one of his legs.
Okay. And about how long was she there?
20 minutes. I don't know. I can't. I mean,
Do you remember a conversation that was taking place there, or what? I mean, what was the demeanor of that?
they were talking, but I mean, she was also talking with other people, and but I didn't pay attention to what their conversation was about.
Okay. Did you ever see Captain File's hand up her shirt or on her buttocks area at any time?
So the part about the shirt, I didn't see that. I heard that, because I know I saw them over by the railing at one point.
Okay.
But I didn't.
Tell me what you
They were
observed
there.
there.
They were just standing like face to face talking. But I didn't see. I didn't see like his hand or anything. I wasn't paying that much
So,
attention to it.
what did you hear, and what was said with regards to that?
Just that somebody said that he had his hand like on her back, but I didn't hear what their conversation was about.
Okay. Did you find that behavior to be odd or out of character for either one of them?
I mean, I honestly I did. I mean, I've never seen that behavior before from Captain File. I mean, known him for as long as I have, and I just have never seen that before.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, kind of did a double check, like, but was more consumed with conversations that I was having with people I work with. It's kind of like one of those things, the elephant in the room, but you couldn't.
Were there other people that made note of that as well, based on your recollection?
I think everybody had to have seen it.
Okay.
They'd have been, blind.
Okay. So you indicated that there was a point in time where she spent somewhere in the neighborhood, and I know this is an estimate of 20 minutes, seated either, based on your description, on the arm of the chair or partially in his lap.
Yeah, because if I was, this would be my lap. She wasn't, that I don't remember her sitting like in his lap.
She was sitting
Like,
edgeways.
Right. Well, kind of like, heck, I don't even remember. I just remember she wasn't sitting like directly in his lap.
Okay. And at some point she got up And
Yes, and I don't remember.
They moved to a different place, or what was first, the lap sitting or the?
Yeah, the lap sitting
The
was first,
separation.
and then I think then she was over there by the railing with him, and then at some point she either wound up sitting beside Sergeant Clower and Sergeant Pritchett. I think that's right. I don't know. I don't think she sat in anybody's lap that I remember. I just remember her now being over here with them.
Okay, so you didn't see her sitting in Sergeant Clower's lap?
She was right there with him. I don't remember if she was in his lap or not. I just remember being in a conversation and then her somehow transitioning to where she was at by Clower and Pritchett. And then I remember at one point she kind of like, I don't say passed out, but I mean, she was, looked like she was asleep.
Okay. And where was she at when she was asleep or passed out, or where?
I think she was sitting right there on that, I think there's either a bench or some chairs right there. I think she was right there.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
Was she leaning on anyone or back on that? I mean, surely she was not seated upright.
Man, I don't remember if she leaned over on Clower or Pritchett, but the vibe that I kind of got from Clower at one point when was kind of like, all right, I don't really want to be here, like, you know, maybe just because how she was, you know, intoxicated and leaning over or whatever.
Okay.
It just seemed like to me he was uncomfortable with it.
All right. Did you note at any time when she left or how she left?
Before they took her to her room, I think.
Okay.
But I don't remember what time that was.
All right. So at some point you left.
Yeah, I went back to my room.
While you were there, did you note or did you observe anybody taking photographs or videos of what was taking place out there that night?
I know I took a picture.
What did you take a picture of specifically?
Her and Captain File sitting in the chair. I later deleted it just for the simple fact that
Did you show it to anybody out there that night?
if I did, I don't remember who. I mean, like I said, I tell you the people I mainly was talking to. So if I showed it to one of them, I don't remember
Who would
Wheeler, Kirby, Sloniker. You know, like I said, I don't remember if I showed it to anybody. But I did take a picture.
When did you delete that picture?
Less than a week after.
Okay. Did you send that picture to anybody, post it on social media,
no.
or did you let anybody view it after that?
I deleted it. And honestly, I was like, I don't know. I don't want any part of that to be like I deleted it so that it's not even anywhere on my phone or anything.
While you were out on the back deck, did you see anybody there that was not associated with the police department? Any employees of Bandy Mill or any other patrons by chance?
Mm-hmm.
So everything that you saw on the back porch was
Just
PD.
us, right.
PD. Okay. Describe for me where that porch is situated. Is it such a manner that anybody could see what was going on back there, or was it somewhat concealed? Or
I mean, it's so you walk through a breezeway. You got the two sets of motel, whatever rooms they got up there. It's 2 floors. You enter it all from the front, and they all have back patios or whatever. So you walk through it, and it's in a covered area. And of course, Banning Mills is out in the middle of nowhere. But you'd have to have gone around the back of there. I would imagine you might could hear it if you were like down in the woods. But
were there any conversations that you would have considered to be heated or controversial or argumentative between people while you were out there?
not that I remember. Jeremy Jones trying to get his point across about something, but it was not like a heated argument. He was just being repetitive.
Did you see Becky in a state where she was crying or
I heard
seated on
somebody
the
say,
ground at any time?
not that I remember her being on the ground. I remember somebody saying something about her crying, but
Do you know what that was about by chance?
mm,
All right.
that was one of those things where, I was like, people would say, "Oh, well, she's crying," and I'm like, I don't know what. I'm not going to go over there and get involved in a conversation. But
Could you tell what the source why she was crying? Was it because she was involved in an argument with somebody, or was it just being drunk? Or
I couldn't.
you could do.
Okay. I just remember hearing somebody say something about her having been crying, and I don't remember who it was, but I didn't see it. I didn't see her crying.
All right. Did you note anything else on the back porch or any other conversation to be unusual, out of character, odd while you were there?
No.
Okay. All right. And at some point you left, and who did you leave with?
Myself.
Okay.
Well, I think Kirby might have left around the same time I did, but I know the last two that were there was Jones and Wheeler.
Okay. And where did you go?
My room.
Okay. And did you come back out that night? All right. And tell me about Tuesday.
Got up Tuesday. I think we had to be there at 8 for breakfast. Can't remember exactly. But I got down there right before time for breakfast. We ate. We had morning session, lunch, and then that afternoon session.
Okay.
Our classroom.
All right. And when you went to breakfast that morning, were there any conversations about what took place the night before? Right. Right. Okay. All right. I think I already asked you this. Was any alcohol purchased or provided by the city of LaGrange or the police department during this event?
No.
Okay. All right. Any alcohol that you observed, you indicated was brought or purchased by individual
Correct.
officers there or supervisors?
Correct.
All right. So about at some point you leave there?
Yeah, I left early just for the simple fact that, I was kind of tired and just wanted to get back and talk to my family again on the phone. And the reception's not really good in the rooms, so I, tried to get back.
Where did you stay in the room? It's situated wise. Were you in a cabin? Or you were in the bunkhouse, so
Right,
to
the
speak?
bunkhouse, the second floor is all I can tell you.
Okay. All right. Was it on the same level as the back porch?
Mhm.
It was above it? Okay.
It was, so if the back porch area was right here, mine was down on this far end, closer to, I guess it'd be kind of in the direction of the main
Training
training area.
Okay. All right. So you went back after the barbecue. When did you come back out of your room?
The next morning.
Okay. And tell me the events of that day.
I think it was Wednesday. Got up, had breakfast. Then we had our agency goals and everything in the training room down there.
Okay.
And then we left probably shortly before noon.
Okay. And how did you get back?
My truck with Lieutenant Kirby and Sergeant Sloniker.
Okay. All right. Did you guys discuss any of the events that took place there at Banny Mills during that time? Specifically, the behavior on the back porch as you guys were driving back?
I don't remember if we did or not. I'm not gonna say we did or we didn't because I don't remember what the conversation was.
Do you remember seeing anybody else? You indicated you took a single photo, which has been deleted. You did not. Did you see anybody else take a photograph or video or mention that they took a photograph or video or showed you a photograph or a video?
Nobody showed me anything that I remember. I think I remember Cavender saying that he had taken a photo but deleted it. But I don't remember if anybody else had. He's the only one that I remember even hear anything about. I don't know. I
Is there any discussion about why you guys took a photograph by chance? Okay. And you're again saying that you did not send a photograph, did not share the photograph with anybody. Do you know if Mark Cavender shared or showed the photograph with anybody?
I have no idea, but I know I didn't.
Okay.
I thought afterwards, I was like, just need to delete it.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that I've not asked you or any information you have that you think I need to know as a part of this internal review?
No, not that I can think of. I think you covered everything that happened.
Okay. All right. This concludes this interview. Today's date is still January the 18th, Wednesday, January the 18th, and I have that it is currently 5:54 p.m. or 17:54 hours. That occurred in November of 2022. The event, the supervisor retreat, began on Monday, November the 14th, and ended on Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. All right, Lieutenant Cavender, were you? Did you attend the supervisor retreat this year?
Yes.
And where was that at, sir?
Bannon Mills, which is, I think was it Whitesburg, Georgia?
All right, where we've traditionally had
Yes.
that. Okay. All right, and can you tell me just generally when class began on that Monday?
Yeah,
And
we had to be there on site, I want to say at 12 o'clock, just before lunch.
All right. All right, so on Monday, November the 14th, the class obviously ended, as you said, between 4:45 and 5 o'clock. Can you tell me specifically what you did after
Yeah.
class?
Right at the end of class, we were given room assignments, given room keys for our rooms. Once I had my room key, I went and moved my car because my car was parked at the bottom of the hill where the classroom is. So I moved my car because I was in a cabin basically up towards the top.
All right, and just approximately how long were you guys at the restaurant?
Yeah, we were probably there hour and a half.
Okay.
There was a lot of people, so
While you guys were at the restaurant, were there were people consuming alcohol within
Yes.
there? Okay. All right.
some, not everyone.
All right. Can you tell me, just best as your recollection, who was purchasing out? I mean, who actually consumed alcohol at that time? Drinks.
It's really gonna be hard to say. I was sitting there with Sergeant Lohr, and I think it was Sergeant Butler, and we were not drinking. I know Sergeant Nolles was drinking. Lieutenant Kirby was drinking. Sergeant Clower. Sergeant Wheeler.
While you were there. Okay. All right. So you guys were there an hour and a half. While you were at the restaurant, was there any behavior or anything that would have led you to believe that there were any problems or excessive drinking, any disorderly behavior or anything?
No, Lieutenant Kirby I think he had a little bit too much to drink, but I mean, he was not disorderly by any means. I mean, if anything, everybody was having a good time. We were in the back room at Taco Mac by ourselves because we had such a large table, about different things. But I actually was sitting there at the table for a minute talking with Sergeant Knowles about, I don't know if it's her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. We got to talk about Clayton, Sergeant Bryant.
Okay.
I don't even remember exactly how the conversation got started. We talked for just a few minutes about that, and then something was said from Captain Fowle to Sergeant Knowles about this time a year ago, I didn't even want you to work for me, or something like that. And it was, again, like it was out of left field, nowhere. And it was, what are we talking about here? Well, Sergeant Knowles, by now, she's gotten a little bit loud. And
Was she loud because she was aggravated, or
I don't know if it was because she was aggravated or because she was getting drunk.
Okay. You indicated earlier, though, she went. Sergeant Knowles
Rebecca Knowles went with you guys to Taco Mac, so she was one of the ones that had something to drink.
Yeah,
at Taco
she
Mac.
was drinking the taco.
Okay, when she got back there, what was her state?
She seemed fine. Like I said, she and I sat there at the table and had a conversation for, when I say the table, there's 2 or 3 little picnic tables like out on this deck. And we talked about Sergeant Bryant, because Becky, Sergeant Knowles, had worked for me when she was in SIU. She'd worked for me when she was a detective up here. So we've known each other for quite a while. And everything, she seemed fine. Then that comment was made about him not wanting her to work for him, which, in my opinion, seemed like it come from nowhere. She starts saying, well, something along the lines, well, are you disappointed now? Have I let you down now or something? So they started this conversation back and forth. I get up. When I get up, I walk over to the banister, and that's where, again, Sergeant Jones, Sergeant Sloniker, I want to say Sergeant Clower, we're standing there, and we're standing there talking. And from being in these, you get a bunch of police officers together, no matter what venue we're in, we start talking about cop stuff. So we're talking about different things related to work or whatever. And everybody's doing their own thing. People are continuing to drink. At this time, I haven't had anything to drink. It was only later. I took a couple of sips of the homemade wine, and I think it was Chris gave me like a little thimble of that moonshine he had, which I couldn't stomach that stuff.
Okay.
But as we're standing there, I feel a nudge, and it's John Sloniker. And he says, look, and that's when I turn around, and I see Becky is now sitting in File's lap. And
how long has that been since they had that conversation? Was the conversation, did it appear to be confrontational when you got up from the table?
No.
Was there a reason that you left?
I was sitting here, File was sitting here, Becky was sitting here. So as they're talking to each other, it's like I'm in the middle.
Right.
And I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know what y'all are even talking about. Exit stage left, back in my own world.
Gotcha. Okay.
But no, it didn't seem confrontational. It seemed like 2 loud, inebriated people having a conversation.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like to me. So I turn around. That's when I see Becky sitting in File's lap. And
how long between that conversation, I guess, that they started and when you observed it? It would have been like an hour.
No.
They continued to drink.
I'd say maximum 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Give or take. I left one time to go use the bathroom, come back, so it wasn't immediately, but it was some minutes later.
Okay.
Honestly, when I saw her sitting in his lap, my first, thought was, what the hell? And I initially took my phone and snapped a picture of him, which, did we talk about deleting it now, or?
Sure. You can go ahead and tell me what.
No,
go ahead with the story, and then you kind of chronologically tell me how you became.
So I turned around and see them. Initially, I took the picture, and and then I realized it wasn't just a sit down and get back up thing. She still continued to sit there. It's like, okay,
Was he seated in a chair on
he
the
was
table?
seated in a chair, and she was sitting on his knee, like she was sitting in his lap. I mean, that's the only way to put it. She was sitting in his lap. I didn't want to see what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. So my little group, we kind of turned. But she continued to sit there. And I ended up going back across the table. I'm sitting down now on the other side of they're still like against your wall away from me. I'm sitting over here at this table. And she's still sitting there. And I don't know what they're talking about. I can't hear what they're talking about. They're really close to one another. I'm not going to say like kissing close, but they were close enough that you couldn't hear what they were saying to each other. He did have his hand kind of on the small of her back, the top of her butt, but it wasn't a rubbing motion, or he was there.
Okay.
That continued on for, I don't know, another couple minutes or whatever.
Could you tell if anybody else took notice of that other than?
Oh no, everybody there. It was the elephant in the room. You couldn't help but notice, because where they're at is literally in the center of the deck.
All right. At that time, tell me who all you remember being present, and I'll give you that list that, again, folks that attended. All right. I'm sorry to interrupt. Okay. So go ahead there.
So eventually they got up. When I say they, Becky and Captain File got up, and they actually moved over maybe 20, 25 feet away from everybody. Like I said, it's a pretty big deck. They were standing on a banister, leaning up against a banister, talking. Again, no idea what they were talking about. While they were over there, and they were over there for a while. So everybody else is still mingling, talking. There is a lot of drinking going on. But everybody was confined right there to that one area. Nobody was doing anything inappropriate that I could see other than what was going on over there. As I got ready to leave, I was walking down the deck, the catwalk on the deck, to somebody's room to use the bathroom. And I heard Becky crying as I was walking back by, which of course caught my attention, and I looked over, and I could see she was crying, and I could hear Captain File saying something along the lines of, "You single-handedly almost ruined my patrol division. You broke up marriages. You broke up relationships." And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to be a part of this. I went back to under the deck, was getting ready to leave. I was standing there getting ready to leave whenever they broke up from where they were at. By this time, Becky is completely, she's drunk.
Okay.
She's drunk. She comes over, and she actually ends up trying to sit down in two other people's laps.
Okay.
One of which was Sergeant Clower. Sergeant Clower looks at me like, and I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but what I took to mean like, help me. Because she kind of sat down in his lap. So I go over and grab her by the arm, pick her up, sit her down in a chair. She eventually ends up in, she gets up and ends up in, was it Pritchett? I think it was Lieutenant Pritchett sitting on his, she's literally sitting on his knee, kind of leaning back. And by now she's, in my opinion, passed out.
Okay.
I'm getting my stuff to leave, or about to leave. File had left, but then he come back and said he left his cell phone there. When he comes back to get his cell phone, I don't know what the conversation was between him and the people where he left his cell phone. But then he comes over, like to where I'm standing, and he starts this singing kind of rendition, dancing of an old song called "Baby's Got Back." But he's going, "Becky's got back, Becky's got back," and she's out, so she don't hear what's going on. And I don't know what spurred that, what brought that on. Well,
how close was he to, and I'm assuming at that point, based on your description, that she's still sitting in Lieutenant Pritchard's lap when he comes back?
yes.
And how close was he to them when that song began?
Oh, there was several people between him and her.
Okay.
There was several people. He wasn't close enough to have any contact.
Okay.
And at that point, when I left, everybody that I mentioned with
What state would you say he was in at that point?
he was obviously intoxicated. There's no doubt he was intoxicated. He was still able to walk and function on his own, but and not knowing somebody's, I don't know somebody's level of how they handle their alcohol, but there was no doubt he was intoxicated.
Okay. All right. Could you tell, all right, so after that, you said what took place after you observed that? He got his phone?
He got his phone, got his cooler. Like I said, I know Lieutenant Butler had left just before me because he was walking up the hill and I was walking up the hill behind him. So exactly at what point, I think File left right behind me, but I think he was staying down here, so I don't know exactly which way he went. Before I left, I was picking up trash that had been left out there, throwing trash away. Finally got to the point I was tired of cleaning up after everybody. I said, it kind of got...
when you say trash, what was it you were cleaning up?
like beer cans, cups, stuff like that. Okay. Just, people standing around.
Did it appear that it was the gathering was kind of winding down at that time? Okay.
People were starting to gather their stuff.
When you left, and you say when you left, Captain File left before you did, and then...
He left just before me or just after. I can't remember.
And you and Lieutenant Butler kind of left at the same time.
Yeah, he had left just a little bit ahead of me.
So when you guys left, who was left there? everybody that you listed, were they still there, or?
No, some had already left. Like Sergeant Stevens, I know he had already gone. But I don't know at what point he left. When I left, Lieutenant Laura was still there. Lieutenant Pritchett, Sergeant Clower, Sergeant Sloniker, which I think he didn't have to go anywhere because his room was right there. He was talking about going to his room whenever I was leaving. I can't say that he did or that he didn't. I think Sergeant Jones was still there, maybe Sergeant Wheeler. But like I said, everybody was cleaning up after themselves, gathering whatever they had and getting ready to. It was 10:30.
Okay. How long had you guys been there? How long had you been there?
Hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours.
Okay. All right. So you left, and then what happened?
I left, went back to my room, cabin, whatever you want to call it. I'd already got my stuff ready. I said earlier, I took a shower before we went to eat. I didn't take a shower before we went to eat. I came back in, took a shower, shaved, all that for the next morning. Called my wife again, sat there and talked to her for a little while. And I was probably in the bed, going to sleep by 11.